make it to be gasified again, and after that it will produce, and it should used to be dealt as the waste, and we can reproduce and to produce the liquefied nitrogen and natural gas. And this is a very good process. But after the gasification, it will have a lot of residues of the carbon. This is the main procedures of the gasification. This is the oil VHF, the oxygen, the gasification, the syngas suit, and the water scrubbing, water suit, and the clean syngas. This is a very typical solid waste. And this SGP is something very difficult to tackle. This is the picture. With the very higher, it has contained high proportion of the water. And this is the future cake. In the process of the oil refinery, we are going to use a lot of materials, and therefore we will have the residue of the catalyst. Includes the vanadium, and this is the most popular content of the future cake. If we apply it into the gasification, and it will produce the bitumen to pave the road. The bitumen will contain some heavy metals, and the future cake will contain some heavy metals, and it will become quite volatile, and it will be harmful to our health. And in addition, it has contained a lot of water, and in the process of the combustion, the vanadium is going to produce the very strong carcinogen materials. And for this Zhejiang provincial petrochemical plant, at upstream they have implemented the Shell gasification project, and after the gasification, they have adopted our technology to treat the future cake. Firstly, they can totally process the future cake, and they can also recycle the heavy metals. This is the very simple structure diagram. And with regard to the polygonal furnace, it has contained water of about 80 to 85%. We're hoping the water shall be evaporate under the temperature of 200 Celsius degrees. And the solid content has contained about 50% of carbon. We're hoping the carbon shall be gradually combusted. And the third objective for us is that it has contained many metal These are the three goals we're trying to achieve. It's very difficult for us to fulfill these three targets at the same time. If we want to burn this coal, we're hoping the higher temperature, and but the higher temperature will exert the influence on the vanadum. If we raise the temperature to more than 690 Celsius degree, this vanillin will be evaporated and get out of the furnace. It will contain the carcinogenic, and we're hoping we may have quite a controlled combustion. It can not only burn down the coal, it can also help us to deal with the metal. We must be clarified that the temperature for the vanillin should be no more than 650 Celsius degrees. If it's more than 650 Celsius degrees, we shall have a very precise temperature control to avoid the carcinogenic gas. If it's excessive temperature, is going to cause a problem. With our technology, we can recycle the filter cake. We have cooperated with Shell for more than 25 years, and this project from the Zhejiang Petrochemical is the first project in China. And by the year of 1994, in the Permian factory of the Amsterdam, and we also have had the projects in Italy. And we have collected samples and we have refined our technology. By the year 2015, the Saudi has ordered the 8 furnaces from us. In the year 2021, we have produced 2 furnaces for the petrochemical of Zhejiang. And the metal recycling rate is high. And once we fit in the filter cake, and the metal content will be more than 40%.
就是如果是说不去做这个绿饼的这个处置，我是单纯的把这个绿饼去往外卖，就有几种情况。第一种情况就是说，可能你要送到微废厂进行那个微废的处置，这可能会有些费用，这是第一种。那么第二种的话呢，就是说，如果你说服一些客户说我这里边有金属，我可以卖，那么可能会有企业去买，那么这样的话，它的一吨可能就是1000块钱、2000块钱，在这个水平上，就是不会卖出多少钱出来。但是呢，就是如果是采用了我们这个就是多汤炉的这个方式给它处置完之后的话呢，它处理完之后的这个金属灰一吨，按照我们那个在国外的经验，包括壳牌的一些经验来看呢，一吨差不多能卖7、8千美元这么一个水平，差不多是合人民币的话5万左右，一吨可以卖5万块钱。也就是说呢，就是。
With the overall procedures, it used to be the waste, which can only be used as bitumen, but with our new technology, it will be converted to the fuel, and the future cake can also be converted to product. The vanadium can also be used as materials for the production. And then I will it occupied a very smaller space with a very lower cost of operation. We have a lot of projects, and Shell is our partners, and we also have those world-renowned petrochemical companies is our customers as well. This is my contact number. If you have felt interest, you can contact me.
And now comes our final speaker from SGS Risk Management Resolution Center, Mr. Yue Qing-song. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very pleased to be invited and very honored to attend this forum. And this is, as the last speaker, I would like to share with you the topic of carbon. So currently we're talking about two topics. One is carbon, the other is pandemic. Pandemic might be something that we coexist with us, and the carbon would also be a very essential topic for the survival of the human being and the development of industry. So we'll look at how do some of the international brands proceed with the zero carbon path. And before I start, I would like to introduce SGS. So we're not an energy supplier or service supplier. We provide service to the energy devices. We have a history of 140 years. So we do inspection, verification, testing, certification. And we already have a 30 years history in China. So we have a branch office in 50 cities in China. So SGS has a wide business scope from agriculture to train plan. And so we're actually engaged with most of the industry. So we have a joke that accepted we do not deal with drug or weapon. We are involved with every industry. So look at the topic of carbon. Why do we focus on zero carbon? Because of several issues. The first is pressure up to down. And we made a commitment in 2020 for the double carbon targets in 2030, 2060, including some of the carbon requirements. And this is from policy-wise. And also the buyers or the brands. A lot of brands actually require that the enterprises should start the review of the carbon emission. And so we do energy consumption reduction and the carbon emission. And so this is what drives us. And everyone knows this picture. This is the General Secretary Xi in September 2020 in the United Nations Assembly declared to the world that we will achieve a carbon peak in 2013 and the carbon neutrality in 2060. This is not a business could be done in one day. And you could see that in 2006 COP6 meeting, China would not commit to the carbon emission goal, and later Prime Minister Wen Jiabao declared that we will declare So we commit to our promise. In 2020, we have declared that we'll reach carbon neutrality in 2060. And same to us that we actually started exploration after 2009. In 2000, we have already engaged with the CDM project. In this process, we also continue to help some of the international brands to do some review and inspection in the supply chain. And in the last years, which means that we have offered many support and service in this sector. And also Japan also declared they will reach the carbon neutrality by 2050. So is Korea, including EU. In the next 10 years, they will invest in 1 trillion euro and to the sustainable investment. So every country is doing their share. And I would also like to share with you a professional industry-specific knowledge. So what is the carbon? Carbon is classified in two categories. The first is organizing of carbon. The second is products of carbon. Organizing means that we estimate and calculate all the carbon emissions in the factory ground. And so what is products? Products mean, for example, mobile, from the raw material to processing and to logistics phase and to the last the recycle of the waste. And so this is a product carbon. So there are different standards in these two areas. So what we use more widely is the ISO standard. In the past, it is PAS 2015, and now it's ISO 14067. So when we introduce a carbon later to our friends, we could give a more professional view. And we would like to also share with you some of the international companies they were engaged with the carbon review work, including APP, Nomad, and there are a lot of APP products. And so in 2018, they started the carbon review work. They have realized they have made profit out of this. We also know the golf to ensure that you can play golf. The landscape of the golf field is very important. So the industry of golf start the carbon neutrality and the carbon peak long ago. And for Coke, this is the product carbon we talked about just now. For example, normally we drink the 330 ml can, so it contains 150 gram of carbon. So in a lot of European supermarket, when you buy the products and have tab with the carbon elements, and this is what they do because every company show the responsibility to cut the emission. And just now we take result of a zero carbon. And currently, a lot of companies is planning for the carbon neutrality accreditation, and there's an international universally recognized accreditation standard. So the philosophy of carbon neutrality, the first is to reduce the cut the emission. And if you can't cut so when we do the calculation of carbon, it's very complex. Then how do we change the complex work into a more simplified one? And we have this system of Red Sea. We put a lot of know-how into this system, and a lot of and enterprises can. So this is what we would like to do, and what we our target. So that concludes my presentation. We're committed to achieve the double carbon target in China. And thank you so much for inviting me to share this. Thank